Place the front housing and rear housing on a flat surface with the bearing bores facing up. Install the 1/8 NPT plug into the front housing. Insert the bearing lock pins into the front housing and rear housing. Insert the bearings into the housing bores. A light press fit may be required. Insert the housing alignment pins. Install housing O-ring into the racetrack-shaped grooves of the center housing. Place the center housing onto the front housing with the orientation as shown. Install housing O-ring into another racetrack-shaped grooves of the center housing. Place 2 wear plates into position, as shown. Take the 2 gear shafts and insert the 1 set of retaining rings into the shaft. Take the shaft key and gear and insert them both into the shaft as shown. Insert another set of retaining rings into the shaft as shown. Insert the assembled gear shafts into the housing as shown. Place 2 wear plates on the top of the gears as shown. Insert 2 housing alignment pins into the center housing. Place the rear housing on the center housing. Install 4 sets of bolts, nuts, and lock washers into the housing, then tighten the bolts. Turn over the assembly and install the retaining ring onto the drive shaft in the groove that is closest to the front housing. Also install the housing O-ring into the grooves on the front housing. Carefully tap the retaining ring onto the end of the shaft using a rubber mallet. Push the retaining ring into the inner groove using a rubber mallet. Insert the key into the drive shaft. Slide the inner magnet to the drive shaft and install the second retaining ring by using the rubber mallet. Attach the containment can to the pump housing. Insert the 6 sets of bolts and lock washers. This completes the pump cartridge assembly. Use 4 sets of bolts, nuts, and lock washers. Remove the 4 front housing bolts from the pedestal. Carefully pull the cartridge straight out. Remove 6 screws. Detach the inner magnet from the drive shaft by removing the outer retaining ring. The retaining ring can be dislodged from the grooves by using a large flat screwdriver and a rigid bar. Remove the inner magnet. Remove the key from the drive shaft. Dislodge the retaining ring from the inner groove on the drive shaft. Slide the retaining ring up the shaft and into the outer groove. Then remove the ring from the outer groove. Remove the O-ring from the containment. Remove the 4 housing bolts and then separate the rear, center, and front housing. Separate the rear housing from the containment. Remove the bearing lock pins from the rear housing. Remove the bearing rings from the rear housing. Remove the housing alignment pins from the center housing. Remove the O-ring from the center housing. Place the rear housing part on the table. Remove the 2 wear plates from the center housing. Remove the gear shaft assemblies. Remove the 1 set of rings from the gear shafts. Remove the gears from the shaft. Remove the keys from the gear shafts. Remove the second set of retaining rings from the shaft and place the shaft and ring in the table. Remove the center housing part. Remove the 2 wear plates from the front housing. Remove the remaining housing O-ring. Remove another set of housing alignment pins. Remove another set of bearing from the front housing. Remove the bearing lock pins from the front housing. Place the front housing part on the table.